And actually, it looks like 2 more off the top. It's really hard to see with a dark theme. That's why when I actually go to set up my video filters for each video, I use a light theme. Yeah, we need 2 videos off the top. We need 2 pixels off the top and 2 pixels off the bottom. Now, here's the thing. On that video, now I know you couldn't see because the detail's bad by the time you watch this on YouTube, but on this video, there was actually only 1 pixel of black border at the top, but you cannot crop in uneven numbers. Your video has to be even numbers high by even numbers wide because of the way. I'm not going to get into it now because it gets into details that are way beyond the scope of this video, but read the M-Player's Manual that I referred to in one of my earlier videos. Read M-Player's Manual. It will explain why. Even if you specify an odd number, it'll ignore it and go to the next even number down or up. I don't remember. I believe it's the next even number lower. So you got to round up by 2. Now, when you're finished and you're actually done cropping, and you got to round everything back up to 16. I'll show you that in a minute, though. But there's a reason you got to use 16. So anyway, we know we got 2 more to come off the top, 2 more to come off the bottom. So our 468 height needs to be changed to 464. And then at the end, our offset of 4 pixels need to be an offset of 6 pixels. So now you should have crop equals 708 colon 464 colon 6 colon 6. That means make it 708 pixels wide, 464 pixels tall. Start 6 pixels from the left and 6 pixels down from the top. So that's our width, our height, our X offset, our Y offset. Hit enter. And then hit up. Hit up and in player till you get to the picture, and it's perfect. No borders anywhere. No black borders. That's absolutely great. Now here comes the next part of the video filter chain. Resize. Now a lot of people like to resize to the physical display dimensions of the video. That is not a good idea. Leave it anamorphic. There's a reason why it's anamorphic to begin with. You can always transcode it straight back to DVD if you leave it anamorphic. If you hard code it, you're kind of screwing yourself. Leave it anamorphic. All right, but check it out. Hit comma because now we're going to start another video filter at the end of the crop filter, and we're going to use the scale video filters. SCALE equals, and with scale, it's like the crop filter except you only give it a width and height. You just tell it how big and how wide you want it, or how wide and how tall you want it. Now here's the thing. With video, a codec operates on 16 pixel macro blocks of information. Again, I'm not going to get into details because, for one, I'm not exactly an expert on very, very detailed codec shit like that. Like that's at the threshold of my experience of understanding. M-Player's Manual page covers this information extensively. Read M-Player's Manual that I referred to earlier. Skip straight to chapter 11. But anyway, 16 by 16 pixel macro blocks is how codecs decode and encode information. It breaks them down, sometimes even down to 8 pixels. So that means you need to round this. So that means if your video's width and height are not even increments of 16, you're wasting processor overhead because it still has to make up information on a 16 by 16 macro block. So let me open the GIMP again just to show you a quick example. Alright, now say this is a picture of a video, a still picture. Now we got a 16 by 16 block here. Let me actually put a new layer. Alright, so check it out. We got a 16 by 16 block. Now, the video breaks these blocks and processes the information in those blocks 16 pixels at a time. So, and I know these aren't lined up exactly, but you're getting the point. So check this out. At this video, now, as you can see here, it is not an even number of blocks wide. We have half a block at the end. Well, guess what? The codec has to process information in this empty area and then drop it when it displays it. So even though it's like the black borders problem, remember in the first one of the earlier videos I told you why black borders are bad, because it has to process information that's moving out of the picture into that black area. Even though it's not getting displayed, it still has to process it, and then at the last minute before it displays the information as a final result, it'll drop it and make it completely black. So that means it wastes CPU overhead on black areas both when you're transcoding and when you're just playing the video. Same thing with videos that are not even multiples of 16 in the width and height. It has to process information in those macro blocks, even if part of that macro block is not getting displayed. So you waste CPU overhead, and I believe, if I remember right, the manual said you even waste storage space. It even affects storage space. So it has to be, width and height has to be even numbers of 16. So check this out. Here is the hard-coded rule of thumb. All video is anamorphic coming from DVD. Even if it's HD DVD, it's going to be anamorphic. I'm positive about that. It's just going to be higher resolution. So check this out. Break out your calculator. Now, any movie that is 1.78 to 1, such as this one right here, is going to be displayed, or is going to be stored at 720 by 480. Now, I don't give a fuck how much of the movie you had to crop. As long as you crop by even multiples of 2, you have to scale back up to even multiples of 16. So write these numbers down, or I'll try to write these numbers down on my website. Remember this. Every movie that is a 1.78 to 1 ratio will always be rescaled back to 720 by 480. So hit up. Now at the end of your filter you got crop equals 708 colon 464 colon 6 colon 6. Hit comma. Scale equals 720 by colon 480. Now it cropped it down to 708 by 464. It's going to scale it back up to 720 by 480 and maintain its 1.78 to 1 aspect ratio. Which means that it just slightly, you get rid of the black borders and you resize it back to its original size before you crop the borders, so the picture's slightly larger. But it's still the 720 by 480. And 720 divided by 16 is an even number, even multiple of 45. So that means there's 45 macro blocks wide. And 480 divided by 16 is an even number of 30, which means there's 30 macro blocks tall. So 720 by 480 is an even multiple of 16. If your movie is a 4:3 movie, a full screen movie, which is 4:3 or 1.33 to 1, you're going to rescale it back to, after you crop out the black borders, you're going to scale it back to 720 by 480. If your movie is a 1.85 to 1 ratio, which is actually kind of hard to find, that's not very common. I think maybe Big Daddy might have been a 1.78 to 1. Looks like it. I can't be for sure.
First of all, that
Oh no, I believe Wedding Singer was. Anyway, I'll tell you how to recognize. Yeah, Wedding Singer is definitely 1.85 and not 1.78. Now, how you can recognize a 1.85 to 1 movie is, check this out. See this? This looks just like a typical widescreen movie, a 16:9 movie. When you see it on the DVD before you crop out the black borders, you will normally not see a left and right border, but you will see a small, maybe 10 pixels at the top, 10 pixels at the bottom. That means it's 1.85 to 1, which means it's slightly wider than a typical widescreen movie. So it's still safe to rescale it back to 720 by 480. Always remember that. Now, sometimes you will have a small border at the left and right. Now pay attention though, because we just cropped Cops and Robbers, and it had only a 4 pixel top, and maybe an 8 pixel bottom. Or no, it wound up being 6 pixel top, 10 pixel bottom, which is 16 pixels altogether. That doesn't mean it's 1.85 to 1. It's still 1.78 to 1 because we also had to crop 6 off the left, 6 off the right. But if you're not cropping very much at all off the right, I'll put it like this. If you're cropping a lot more off the top and bottom than you are off the left and right, by about 10 pixels more,